Hi everyone, I'm Sai Krishna, an experienced web developer from India. I'm the instructor for this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be creating an analytics dashboard using Charts.js and simple data tables library. So first, we will do a dev environment setup. We will install Visual Studio Code, Python and Django, DB browser, and Git bash. After that, we will start with Charts.js. We will explore different kinds of charts, and then we will see how to initialize them, how to render them on canvas elements, and we will see how to customize charts using various configuration options. We'll go through the documentation and we will explore charts.js. After that, we will check out simple data tables library. We'll go through documentation, the various functions like how to create a data table and how to add rows in the data table, how to remove rows, the various actions. And based on the knowledge we gained, we will create an analytics dashboard at the end of the tutorial. So this is what we'll be creating at the end of the video. So we will create a basic analytics dashboard, which will have a header, sidebar, and which will have line graphs and pie chart and data table a page. And then we'll also have a reports page, which will have the whole page with the data table. So this is what we'll be creating at the end for this tutorial. So we will be doing all this using Charts.js and simple data tables library. So let's go into the tutorial. Let's see how to install Python. Installing Python is very straightforward. Just go to python.org website, then go to download section, select the appropriate version. Suppose if you are on Windows, go to Windows and just download the installer. Once you download it, just open it and select this checkbox. Add python.exe to path, then click on install now. It will take few seconds, then Python will be installed. So Python is successfully installed. Now you can check it through command prompt. Open command prompt and search for Python version. As you can see, Python is successfully installed. Let's see how to install Visual Studio Code. For installing Visual Studio Code, just search for Visual Studio Code and then go to the first link. So based on the operating system, download the executable file. I am downloading Windows version. So your download will start, download the file. Once your download is done, open the file. Click on I accept the agreement, then next, 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 and then check these two options and then next, install. So your VS Code is installed. You can click on finish. So you can see your VS Code is opened. Now let's see how to install DB browser. So for installing DB browser, search for DB browser and then go to the first URL, then go to download section, select the appropriate version. So here I'm selecting Windows 64-bit installer, then download it. Once your download is done, just open it. Click on next. I accept the terms. Then select these two options and click on next, next, install. Then finish. Let's check it. DB browser. So DB browser is successfully installed. Let's see how to install Git bash. For installing Git bash, just search for Git bash and then go to the first URL. Based on the operating system, download the appropriate one. I'm choosing Windows and I'm going to install the 64-bit one. Download the installer. Once it's downloaded, just open it. Click on yes and next, next, access, yes, and next, 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 next. Leave all the default options like that and install it. Git bash is successfully installed, so let's launch it and check. So we installed DB browser, VS Code, Python, and Git bash. Now it's time to create a new Django project. For creating a new Django project, you just go to some folder in your file explorer, then create a new folder here. For that, open Git bash, and I'm creating a new folder using mkdir command. Mkdir means make directory, and I'll just enter some name here, analytics dashboard. Then as you can see, a new folder is there. I'll go to that folder. So I'm inside analytics dashboard folder. Now I'll create a new virtual environment. For that, enter this command mvenv env. This will create a virtual environment inside analytics dashboard folder. So virtual environment is created. It's time to activate it. For that, you can enter this command scripts slash activate. If virtual environment is activated, then you will see this. Now let's install Django. Pip install Django. Now let's create a new Django project. Django admin start project core, and I'm creating project inside this folder. Now you can see a new file manage.py is created and another folder called core. And if you open it, you will see all the required files. They're created by Django. Now let's create an app. Django admin start app, and let's open this folder inside VS Code. Let's run server and check whether Django app is created properly or not. As you can see, it's working. The next step is to link this app to core app. For that, go to app folder and then here create a file called urls.py, and from django.urls import path URL patterns equal to path, and go to views file and create an index function. Define index of request, return render of request, comma, index index.html. So inside core, create a new folder for templates. And here I'm creating a file called index.html. Now let's give some code. Analytics dashboard, and here I'm giving my app. Now we have to render that inside this folder. So for that, you have to link this templates folder inside settings.py file. Open settings.py and then just go to the templates here and give it base directory slash core slash templates. Now let's link this index function here. Path views dot index comma name is equal to app index. So let's import views here. Import views. Now let's link these URLs inside core URLs. So open core URLs. Then here put include also. And then path app. Then include. Let's give it like normal. Yeah. app.urls. Save it. And now let's go to browser. Before that, start server. And then open your browser. Open localhost. Okay. And match. Let's give it normal like this. And let's reload it. Okay. Now you can see my new app. The index file is getting rendered here. Now it's time to import Bootstrap, and we will also use chart.js in this project. So we will link charts.js and simple data tables and Bootstrap. These three libraries inside our project. All these three libraries are open source projects, so you can use them freely. So charts.js is mainly used for creating charts. We can have line graphs, bar charts, everything. We can include all those things in our project using charts.js library. And then we have simple data tables. So this is used for creating data tables. So we don't have to write everything from scratch. Instead, we can use this project. I'll show you the demo, how this will look like. Yeah, here we have demo. So this is the basic data table. So this library will give you this functionality. So like pager, pagination, search functionality, everything. And you can also sort. This all comes with the library. And then we have Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a front-end UI library. So you can use it for styling. So let's start by Bootstrap. So for including Bootstrap, go to docs section and then go to download. Here you'll find CDN here. Yeah, CDN section here. Just copy it and then paste it here. This is Bootstrap. Then also copy this and paste it here. The same way, let's include charts.js. And for charts.js, just go to getting started and then installation section, and then copy this and then paste it here. For simple data tables, do the same thing. Go to simple data tables to, GitHub page, and then here you will find the CDN section. Copy it, paste it. Okay, now let's see our h1 tag. This appearance should be changed. As you can see, Bootstrap stylings are applied. So let's include Chart.js in our project. For doing that, just go to getting started section and then copy this div here and paste it inside our HTML. Copy the script tags and paste it here down the body. And I'm taking this first script tag and I'm putting it here. Charts.js. Now let's refresh the page. As you can see, we are getting a chart here, but it's too big. So let's make it small. First, I want to make it inside, keep it inside a container. So I'll give class container. As we included Bootstrap, we can use Bootstrap classes. And then here, I'll just do it like column medium 6. Now let's refresh it. So now it's looking much better. But the background color, it's gray. But I want it to be some color. So for doing that, you can just go to this configuration. So before that, I'll explain you how this is working. So first, we imported this library using the script tag, and then we created a canvas element here, and we gave ID like my chart. And in the script, we are just getting the element. So you can see we are getting the element, and then we are creating a new object, chart object, and we are passing the element, and then we are passing extra context here. So this extra context contains some variables, like here we have a type, and here we are specifying it's a bar chart. For example, if you want to give a pie chart, you can specify it here, and if I refresh it, you can see we are getting a pie chart. But here it's bar chart, so we are getting bar chart. And then the data. In the data, we are passing labels. So labels are the things present on x-axis, and the data. Data, it's based on the data, the y-axis will be made, and according to that, bars will be created. So here, if you see, the number of votes are 12, and then it should be 19. Here it's 3, 5, 2, 3. So these bars are created based on the data coming from the this data variable. And then we have border width. We can discuss it later. So let's give some background color. For giving background color, you can pass something like background color, and you can give some value. Like if you want black color, then you can do this and refresh. You can see now it's black. Um, so how do you know all these things? So we can know all these things through documentation. So in configuration, go to, okay, not in configuration, just go to chart types and then go to bar chart. Here you will see the documentation, and in setup you can see uh, this bar chart contains different colors. And how that is coming? Because we're passing different colors inside background color as an array. So based on the colors present inside this array, this bar chart is displayed. We can do the same thing. We can copy this line here and we can paste it here. Then check it. Now you can see you're getting different colors. First it's red, then blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow. So you're getting different colors based on the colors present inside this array. You don't have to give hard-coded values. You can even pass RGBA values. So for that, I'm just taking the sample array here, copying and then pasting it here. Then refresh. So as you can see, we are getting all the colors. For example, if you want this border, you can include it. Here you can add border colors through this attribute and refresh. You're getting border now and have border width variable that's already provided here. If I give 3, border width will be like 3, but I want it like to be light 1. So we're getting the same chart over here. If you want to have 2 data sets, you can still have it, but for that you have to include another data set. So I'll copy the entire thing here, just paste it, and first thing I'll make it number of people voted and number of not voted, and I'm changing the data set here 1 5 5 2. Yeah, that's looking good. And border width, it's same, it's fine. I'll change opacity here 6. Save, and now refresh it. Now you can see you are getting 2 bars, and first one is number of people voted, and the second one represents the number of people not voted. If you want to see only particular one, you can just do it. You can cross it here. If I want to see only the number of people voted, then I can just hide it. You'll see only the first one. This is the advantage you get from Chart.js. There are so many amazing features which you get from this library. So let's explore one by one. Let's see how to use different kinds of charts. So if you open Charts.js, you can see there is area chart, bubble chart, donut chart, pie charts, line charts, mixer charts, polar chart, radial chart, and scatter chart. So let's see main types of charts. So we will cover pie chart now. So for getting pie chart, you just have to change the type here. I'll change it to type pie. Refresh, you're getting pie chart now. And if you want to see only one data set related information, then you can just comment it. Comment this data here and refresh it. Now you'll only see one pie chart information. Now let's see how to initialize the line chart. Change it to line and refresh it. Now you can see it's a line chart. And if I include this data and refresh, then you're getting 2 lines here. So there are other kinds of charts. Let's go with radar chart. So here, just change it to radar. Refresh. You can see a radar chat. There is one more kind chat which I didn't cover. It is donut chat, which looks like this. Same way, just change it to donut and refresh. Now you can see a donut chat. So these are main types of chats, and let's cover area chat and bubble chat. Because initialization of bar chat, line chat, donut chat, pie chat, these are same, but the initializing area chat, it's different. So let's see how to initialize area chat. So for that, I'm creating a new file, area chat.html, and I'm copying the same data here, and I'm putting it here. And then in views, I'll create a new function, x request, return render request comma area dot html, and URLs, I'll just add a new URL, app up, and here I'll change it to area chart area. Oh, I have to change the view method name to area chart area chart app area chart. Save it, and then now let's change this configuration. So let's change it to line chart, and then set fill property as true. Once you finish that, go to the URL, and here you can see area.html does not exist because it's area chat.html, but in views file we are rendering area HTML, so I have to render area chats.html. Now let's refresh the page. Okay, it's area chat. I'll refresh. Now you can see the line chart, but now the bottom area is filled with some color. So this is area chart, and you can do other configuration. So these are the available configuration for the area chart. So here we can keep it as origin fill +2 and fill 1. So if we keep fill as 1, that means for first data set, the the first data set will be area chat, as you can see here. First one is area chat. If you have two different data sets and you want to fill them with different colors, you can fill it using this fill attribute. Copy it, and instead of giving it some value, just give it this JSON, and you can see it's working. And you can do the same thing here. You can give it some other fill, then it will display some other color. So this is all about the area chats. Now let's see how to use bubble chat. So for using bubble chat, go to the bubble chat section, and you can see here you have to change the type, and you have to pass data of 3 coordinates. Like a bubble chart is used to represent 3-dimensional data, so you have to pass information of x, y, z axis. So let's initialize it. So I'll go to the VS Code. Here I'm changing it to bubble. Then in data, I'll just pass this data over here. Copy it and then paste it here. And now refresh it. 127. slash area chat. Now you can see there is a bubble chat here. So if I observe the coordinates, x-axis it's 20 and y-axis it's 30, but r-axis means radius, it's 15. This circle is bigger and this circle is smaller. If you check the radius, this first one is 15 and second one is 10. So this is how we represent three-dimensional data in bubble chart. So there are some other kinds of charts like polar area chart and scatter chart. This video we are not going to discuss these charts, but you can surely try them through documentation. Till now we have seen different kinds of charts. Now let's see how you can customize charts and different features of chart.js. Suppose if you want to use both line chart and bar chart at the same time, then you can do it. First, I'm copying the entire file and I am pasting it here. Then you can see it's a donut chart. I'm just removing this type from here. And if you observe, there are two data sets. So inside first data sets, I'll give type as line. Then for second one, I'll give type as bar. Save it and then refresh. Now if you see, the first one is line chart and second one is bar chart. So this is how we can use two different charts at the same time. And where did I find it? I found it here. In chart types, there is mixed chart types. Here I found this option. So here they mentioned, yeah, inside datasets, just give one dataset one type and other dataset another type. Let's see how to get a horizontal bar chart. So for horizontal bar chart, you go to documentation in bar charts. If you scroll down, you'll see this horizontal bar chart section. And here you'll see that you have to pass this options attribute here. And inside options, you have to pass index axis as y. Then you'll see this horizontal chart. So let me do that. So here, after data, I'll just data, just data variable called options, and there I'll give x axis as y. Save it and refresh it. Now you can see a horizontal chart. If you want to give some background color to this chart, you can simply do it. First, go through documentation. Inside documentation, go to configuration and then canvas background. Here you will see the code related to that setup. So here inside options, you have to insert a plugin. So for let's do that now. Copy this plugin information here. First, I'll copy and I'll paste here line, and then I'll paste this one. This should be copied after option, and then download the code. Like you copy the code, plugin it here, put it, then setup. Everything is looking fine. Format this, then refresh it. Now you can see a new background color is provided here. So this is how you change background color of the chat. You can even change with Bootstrap or CSS, but this is how you change background color through Charts.js. So these are the basics of charts.js. Now the next step is to learn simple data tables. We'll see how to add rows in data table, how to remove rows, how to initialize a data table, or and some other functionality. We'll go through documentation and we will explore simple data tables library. So let's include simple data tables library inside our project. For that, first go to Chrome and then search for simple data tables. Go to the first one, Feeders Writer, and then here you'll find links, copy it, and before that, create a new template, data tables dot html, and inside urls.py have to create a new URL, and also you have to create a new view function like learn data table of request, return render of request, comma data tables dot html, and save it, and then go to urls.py file, just create a new URL, data tables, data tables, here to data tables. Save it, and then here inside data tables, just copy the index file and paste it here and remove script information, and then here inside that simple data tables, and this canvas, this div, and now paste the copied tags to top here, simple data tables, and then I'm pasting here. Now let's initialize it. So initialization is very simple. So this is how you initialize in plain JavaScript. First, copy, create a script tag, and then write this code here, remove it, and create an element with ID my table. So it should be a table element, table hash my table. Save it and refresh it. And let's go to route data tables. As you can see, something is there other than h1. So it's created by this data tables library. For example, if you give some information like let's copy the code from demo. So first I'll go to demo and I'll go to the simple version, and here I'll inspect it, and I'm copying this table element. Copy inner HTML. Okay, there is this option. I'll just copy it and paste it, and entirely and paste it, and it is ID is my table. Save it and refresh it. Now you can see the documentation, whatever the example present in the documentation, we can see the same thing here. But every time you can't initialize a data table like this, like a plain HTML, because most of the times data will be coming from API call, and the data will be in JSON. Um, so you have to pass JSON somehow into this data simple data tables object. Let's see how to import data inside the simple data tables. Now, for including headings, you can pass data attribute here, all like headings, and inside headings, create an array, heading 1, uh, heading 2, save it, and refresh the page. You can't see anything. So, okay, the reason is this class is remove those classes and then refresh again. Now you can see headings. So if you want to add some more headings, like heading 3, refresh, you can see a new heading is coming here. And you can also pass data here, like data, and you can pass an array of data. But I want to get data from an API response, and then I will render the data inside the simple data tables. So for doing that, I can use a function in data tables, like data tables dot rows. Sorry, not data tables. Data table dot rows dot add rows. It should be like this, and I can show you that inside documentation. For example, if I go to properties here, okay, methods, here go to rows API. Inside rows API, you can see add method. So you can use add method like data table dot rows dot add, and you can pass data. Like here, let me pass this data. So here we are getting error because I have unnecessary data. I mean the three dots. Okay, save it and reload the page. You can see the data is getting inserted here. So column 1, column 2, and column 3. It's okay, but same data is coming again and again. So, oh, okay, actually, you have to pass it as an array. Then you will be able to pass the entire data. Otherwise, only the first record is inserted. First array is inserted. You can see, okay, the entire array is present here. And if I keep, so let's explore other options. So here, if I keep searchable as true and reload, then you get a search bar. You can search for data. For example, let me change this to Felix and I'll reload this. Now you have Felix. I'll search for Felix and you can see Felix here. So search functionality is working. And if you add like a lot of data, then you'll also get pagination option here. So yeah, this is paginator and this is inbuilt in this library. So these are the cool features of this library. And also you can get this pager. So you can um, get specific number of records. If you want 20 records, you can get them here using this. And you also have sorting functionality. Suppose if you want to sort by alphabetically, then you can do it. Now let's see some other options of simple data tables library. So let's go through documentation, and this method section here is the most important one because we will use these APIs more compared to other things. So if you want to remove a particular column or hide a particular column, you can just go here and then here you can add a column and here you can remove a column or you can hide a column. Suppose if I want to hide third column, go to code and here down call the method like dot columns dot hide dot columns dot hide, and you need to pass a row here, like an array here. So I will hide 0 column. I mean the first column. So let's refresh the page. You can see the first column is hidden now. So hidden means visibility will be set to true. I mean hidden property will be set to true. That's why it's hidden. But if you open the inspect tab, you will still see the HTML content. So that's how hidden property works. And let's see other functions of rows API. So let's go here and let's see remove functionality. So go here and then I'll comment this thing. I will try to hide some rows. For that, call data table rows dot remove remove. I'll pass an array like I want to remove first row and 0 and third row. Save and refresh. So actually there should be Felix, but it's not there now. If I if I comment it and if I refresh the page, you can see Felix column. So this entire row got removed, this function. So that is about rows. And let's discuss about set message function. So for example, if you're making an API call and data is coming from API, so it will take some time to render the response. So render the response in the data table. So in the meanwhile, you can load a spinner using this set message function. For example, in the meanwhile, you can just call the function like table dot rows dot set message. Said that you can pass any HTML content like for example pass the spinner and reload. Okay, this set message is not working. Why? I think I have to pass an array. Okay, let's see the documentation. Display message in the table. So it oh actually I'm calling it by rows method. Data table dot set message of spinner. Oh, T is capitalized. Now let's reload. You can see there is spinner here. But if you want to pass a real spinner, bootstrap spinner, you can still do it. Let me show you how to do it. So I'm passing a JavaScript string and let's go to getbootstrap.com and let's search for a spinner. Spinner, and let's copy code here and paste it inside. Now refresh. You can see a spinner is coming here. So this is how you use a spinner inside data tables. So when data comes, you can do one thing. You can just put the spinner thing here. And refresh. So it's going super fast. Let me set some delay. Set time out. And then I'll give time as 1000 milliseconds. Refresh it. Okay, still you can't see anything. and then copy this entire thing here, then paste it over here. Now let's refresh it. You see, spinner is coming for 1 second and then data is coming. So this inside function is running after 1 second. So just for showing this functionality, I did this. Then let's go through documentation. So these are all the available things. You can take advantage of the documentation and you can do magic with this library. So till now we discussed about chart.js and simple data tables. Now it's time to create a website using the knowledge we gained in the last session. So for that, I'll create a new app called dashboard. Have a command python manage.py start app, and I'll give app name. See, a new app is created here. Create a urls.py file and path pattern empty array and go to core URLs. Here include the dashboard URLs. Dash and dash. Now let's create a new view function. Go to views.py file, set dashboard folder. I'm creating an index function. Request turn render, and I want to render a HTML file. Dash. So we have to create this HTML file first. Inside core, I'm creating a folder. Okay, we already have templates folder. So here I'm creating dash.html file and run the server now. Now open urls.py file. Here add the new route. Text dash text. Now go to web server dash. Okay, render is missing one positional argument because we forgot to include request fresh. Now the template is getting rendered. Let me go to dashboard.html, give something dash fresh. As you can see, coming now. And I want to use the content, whatever present inside index.html over here. Like I want to include the same script tags and same body same head, and also want to include the JavaScript. For that, I can create layouts in Django templates. So create a folder called layouts, and paste.html, copy the index file here and layout dashboard paste.html, and remove the necessary information like here, also removing the content inside the body, inside the content, and here I'll define blocks. Block content, block. I'll similar way, let's here the body scripts. Scripts. Now go to dashboard.html, and instead of writing all the meta tags and the head information, you can extend it from base.html. So for that, like extends layout dash base.html and enclose it inside quotes. And now refresh it, working. Let's write a body for that block content and it and refresh. Here you can write something like the same one, and bootstrap styles are applied now. Previously, um, there were no bootstrap styles, but we are extending from text.html. Here we included bootstrap sources. So using bootstrap. So the first step is to create a sidebar and also to have a header. For that, let's create two files inside layout. Sidebar, I'm creating sidebar.html, and a header, I'm creating header.html. And I'll get both of these things from bootstrap examples. Go to bootstrap examples, and here download examples. Download it. Once you are done with downloading, just go to place where you download it and extract it. Okay, once extraction is done, just open it with VS Code. Now you can see the code of all the examples. So I want to include the header present over here. For this project, I want to use this sidebar, which contains a search bar and icon with a drop down. And I want to use another one, a sidebar which is given here. Let's go with a dark mode, and I'll use this sidebar over here. For using that, just go to the code, bootstrap examples, and here search for sidebars. Sidebars, go to index.html and copy the code. So this is the code related to the first sidebar. Copy this and paste it inside your project. Copying this, pasting it inside sidebar.html. And then inside header, let's copy the header content. Go to headers, text.html, And okay, I'll use this header and I'll remove the icons over here. So this header is fourth one. So let's go to the fourth div, 3 and 4. So copy this header over here, paste it inside your header.html. Once you're done with this, you have to also copy the CSS required for these components. So for the sidebar component, you have some CSS. You have to copy this, copy the CSS, and I'm putting it inside CSS file, their own CSS file. As of now, we don't have any folder for putting static files, so I'll create a new folder for storing static files, folder called static, and inside that I'm creating a folder called assets. Inside I'll create two folders. One is for CSS, another is for JS, and inside CSS I'll put these files. So I want this sidebar.css and also header.css. Okay. Once you're done with this, it's time to link them inside your code. So before that, you have to go to settings file, down after the static URL, just create a new variable called static files directory and give it a URL. It should be a tuple, path.join .os. After that, just pass the two parameters. The first one will be case directory and second one will be /static. I'm putting slash here. Once you're done with this, you can just include CSS file using load static command. Just go to dashboard.html. Inside this, include the two components. So I want header and I'll put component name, header layouts slash header dot html. And after this, I also need sidebar as well. Sidebar should be first. Layouts slash sidebar dot html. Okay, I'll put entire thing over a div. And that, okay, save it and open your browser, refresh it. Okay, before that, start your web server. Static file directory, not a tuple. Go to settings. And here, okay, it's not a tuple, so put comma. Now it's a tuple. Reload. You can see you're getting a sidebar, and then you're getting a header, and then you're getting a div. So let's use Bootstrap styling to style our portal. So for that, I'll just put things inside a div. Then I'll give the class T X. Now refresh. Actually, these two things should be inside deflex. Oh, with a class here, save it and refresh it. Now it's looking better. I want this sidebar to occupy entire height and I want this header to occupy entire width. So for doing that, just go to your code editor, then and here width as 100, fresh. Now header is taking the entire width and now it's time to give a full height to the sidebar. So go to sidebar.html and give some styling. Height equal to 100 h. Save it and refresh it. Now sidebar is taking entire height. So everything is looking good. Let's give some padding here. Side dashboard.html, or let's put it inside a div class. Give some margin y. This is looking much better. Now let's start with developing our dashboard. So here I want to create 3 cards, one for total view, one for revenue, and another one for growth rate. And I want all of these cards inside a flex box. I want them to be in a horizontal row. If we copy the content cards, right? Now save it and refresh it. You can see 3 cards, one for total views, revenue, and growth rate. If you observe the card, um, so this is a first card. Said that these are bootstrap classes, so you can search for bootstrap documentation for knowing more about these classes. And then card title is total views over here, and we are giving it as a primary color, blue, which is blue by default. And the card subtitle, you're putting it yearly, and for revenue, let's make it annual. And growth rate, yearly, yeah, it's good. And then have a canvas element. We're putting it inside a div. So here we will be representing a chart, line chart, which indicates the growth rate over time. And then we have a H1, which will give you some number. For revenue, let's make it 8,108 revenue, and for growth rate, put it 79%. And I want to make this growth rate as green color because it's increasing. Text, save it and refresh it. So now let's define the charts for that. So I want this total views and revenue and growth rate to have some line charts. So I'll create a script file, and inside that I will initialize chart objects. Let's create a script file here. Inside JavaScript, I'm just creating index.js, and I'm including it inside dashboard.html at the end. So here I'll call doc scripts, close it, and doc scripts. and here I'll define the script tag, script src. So we are loading. For including this script file, we have to load static first. Load static. After that, just call static and in quotes mention the path assets slash js slash index dot js. Save it and refresh the page. Open the inspect tab just for checking whether your file is coming or not. So there is 404. That means file is not showing up. So what's the reason? So let's check the path, and path is looking correct. Go to static assets JS. Inside static assets inside JS. Yeah, path is looking right, but our server is not able to give this JS file. That go to settings.py file, and here check static file directories. This might be a reason. So remove this and refresh. Now it's working. So let's write our JavaScript here. So I will call the elements like here all the canvas elements. So here we have total views canvas element, and then we have revenue. So revenue chart and chart chart. Go here and call variables chart document dot get and by id total chart and revenue chart dot get element by id revenue chart growth chart dot get and by id growth rate chart, and then here just write initialize chart.js objects new chart. So I initialized total views chart, save and refresh. Okay, there was an issue here. We are putting hash here, that's why it's not working. So let's remove it, and now let's refresh. Now you can see there is a line chart coming here. And in the similar way, let's create charts for both revenue chart and growth rate chart. For revenue chart, creating a new chart object. So I created a new chart object for revenue chart, and then let's refresh it. You can see revenue chart coming up. For growth rate, I just want to leave it like that, but there is an extra space here, and I want to get rid of that. So for that, I can just go to text.html, sorry, dashboard.html. Here I can remove the canvas element. I'll refresh it. Okay, looking good, but I don't want this extra space over here. So I can reduce the size of the element. Here I'll just put it like h25. I want only 25% of the space. If I do it, then the element will fit to the content because I'm choosing a lower size compared to the element size. So now we have three charts here. So next I want to have a line chart over here, a big one. And then after that, I want to have a donut chart, a donut chart or pie chart. Then here I want to have a data table. So for that, let's create a line chart first. which will contain the subscriber count and a subscriber graph. So let's do it. So here I'm just putting everything. um, I'm creating another div for line chat, which will represent subscriber count. So let's copy the code over here. So I'm writing the code here. So this is so I created a canvas element. So here I created a div element, and the text, it will contain subscriber count, and it should be the chart should be present inside this card. So let's do it. So here inside script, I will write code required for creating a line chart for subscriber count. So first, get the element subscriber chart dot get element by ID subscriber count. Let's go to dashboard. Let's see the name properly. Count subscriber count. Pass the element here. Subscriber count chat. Subscriber count. Then let's refresh it. Now we have subscriber count over here. And the next step is to get a pie chart over here and also a data table over here. And for styling, we have to fix this. We can fix this later. So for pie chart, I'll create another div over here. So for pie chart, I'll create another div down this, and I will text class. I'll create two divs here, one for data table and one for pie chart. So I'll write HTML for pie chart, the code for getting pie chart. So we'll be mentioning about traffic sources data in the pie chart, and then we will have a data table. Let's write code for the pie chart. Go to index.js, get the traffic sources element first. Traffic source element dot get element by ID. And if you go to dashboard.html, and you will see here ID is traffic sources for the canvas element, and you will call the same traffic source P, and then your traffic chart equal to paste this, and then refresh it. Save the dashboard.html, refresh the page. You will see a new chart of a traffic sources, but chart is not coming here. Let's see the reason why it's not coming. Here it's element. Now you're getting a pie chart with traffic sources data. Now we have to create a data table over here, the space. So let's create a data table. Go to HTML, and here let's put table and give it some ID, data table. Save it and go to index.js. Just call the table element data table equal to document dot get by ID data table. Save it. Then down we will initialize the simple data table. So this is how we will initialize simple data table. We'll just call the simple data table, and then we will pass the selector, and we are passing extra context here, like searchable is equal to true and fixed height is true, and then data we are getting it like these are the headings. Inside data we are passing heading data, like there should be 3 columns: video title, publish date, and views count. Save it and refresh it. Okay, simple data tables is not coming. Let's check the reason why it's not coming. So the ID is looking good. Let's open inspect tab. Okay, here we can see simple data tables is not defined. Index.js 89. And okay, it's not able to access the library. So let's see the base.html, I mean dashboard.html. Okay, it's looking good. Base.html. So we haven't included simple data type tables library here. So let's do it. So go to datatables.html. Just copy this thing over here and paste it there. Copy and go to base.html and paste it here. Now refresh the page. Okay, now you can see a data table which is, but this is not taking the full width of the element. It's taking only little space. So I want this to take the full width, available width. For doing that, go to HTML and just here I'll give a class column. If it's large, then take 9 columns. Now it's looking good. So it's taking some extra space. So let's fix it. Give it 8. Fresh. It's looking much better. And I want to give some title for this data table, like H1 most watched videos. Save it, refresh it. Okay, it's looking good, but I want it to be center and I want this to be H3. Class text center fresh. Okay, looking much better. And I want to give some data to this data table. So go to script tag and just call the rows.add method and pass some array of data. I just populated some data and I'm adding this data to the data table. Save it and then refresh it. Now we're getting data and we're also getting paginator. Paginate also you can just search. Like if I want to search by this publish date, get only the rows with the publish date. This is looking all good and this pager is also working fine. Yeah. So we are done with dashboard homepage. If you want to get data from an API call and include it, you can do the same way. Just make API calls inside JavaScript and then pass the array using data table.rows.add method. Then it will be showing all the data. And if you want to pass API data inside the charts, you can do the same way. Like here, when initializing, instead of passing the data, the hard-coded data, you can pass the API response inside this chart object. So that way you can get dynamic data inside these charts. So instead of showing this data table here, I want to create one more page, like reports page, which will contain the data in a data table. So here I will remove all the other elements. Here also I'll remove these elements because these are not needed, and I'll change the name here from sidebar to dashboard. So here first I'll go to sidebar. Then I'm just changing it to dashboard. And okay, this is fresh. dashboard. Click on it, it will go to home page, but I want this to go to dashboard. Fresh. Going to the dashboard. Now the home, same. Okay, we have URL here to dashboard. Then I'll remove this. I'll remove all other lines except this customers. Here I'll just give like reports. And here in href, I'll give a new route called reports route, which we haven't created yet. I'm going to create it. And it should be dashboard slash report. Then we have to remove the elements present in the header as well. So site header, go to here, just remove the entire ordered list, save it and refresh it. Okay, but I want this to be coming at end. So for that, and also I want to remove this link over here. Okay, and okay, there is a flex box and there is flex wrap. There is a flex box, that's why entire thing is coming like this. Instead, if I want the search bar to be here and if I want all these elements to be here, then I can just call like instead of lg start, I can give it like justify content between. Refresh. Now you can see search box is here and content is here. If I want both of them to be at the end, I can do it justify content end. Okay, it's coming at the center. Okay, that is because things time. Okay, now it's coming at the end. Now we have a reports page, but we have to define this route. So go to urls.py file. Inside dashboard views, urls.py, create a new file, sorry, new function called reports, takes request as parameter, and it will return render request, comma, reports.html, which we have to create now. So go to layouts, not layouts, templates, boards.html, and inside that just copy the index function here. Oh, we don't have to copy anything. Inside reports, just do the same way that we did for dashboard. Just copy this thing here and paste it over here and remove the unnecessary thing like content. So this, instead of having index.js, we'll have separate file for reports page, reports.js, and we will include that reports.js here, reports.js, and let's create an element here, like a table element, and class a table, and then just go to index.js, copy the initialization step over here, paste it here, and then go to urls.py dashboard slash urls.py and create a new function here, which will be like dashboard reports, reports, reports. Save it. Now refresh. Go back, refresh, go to reports. Okay, still the same issue. Let's see why it's coming. So dashboard, there is a reports route. We just created it, but For some reason, it's not appearing. Let's check server. Okay, it's not DAS, it's instead like here there is a spelling mistake. It should be DAS. Yeah, now it's coming up, but there must be some issue. Data tables, report.js, line number 2, cannot read properties of null. So let's go to reports.js. In line number 2, did we create element? Yeah, we created a table element with which with ID. Okay, this should be ID here. And then refresh. Now the data table is coming up, but the header and sidebar it's not coming. The reason is because it's present inside dashboard.html inside instead of being inside base.html. So let's keep it inside base.html. So go to dashboard.html and copy the content over here, cut, and then go to base.html here and header, okay, the header and div, create another div. We will put it on top and we'll put it here. Yeah, and go back here and the extra thing, the two divs, format it, refresh the page. Now you're getting header and sidebar. Okay, good. Even if you go to dashboard app, this dashboard app is also having like the main route is also having the header and sidebar. Also the reports route should be having sidebar. Okay, there is a spelling mistake over in bar dash and refresh. Okay, go back, refresh here. Now go to routes. Okay, this is looking good. Let's give a title over here. So go to reports page and here just give a title. Refresh and put this entire thing in div. Let's give some margin that it will be good. Okay, have to give some by. Yeah, this is looking better. So that's all for the tutorial. We saw how to create a basic analytics dashboard using Django. So here, if you see, we created two pages. One page is dashboard home, which will contain information like subscriber count, total view, revenue, annual revenue, and we can see line charts over here representing the data. And then we have a big line chart which will represent the subscriber count information. And we have a pie chart over here which is representing the traffic source coming from different platforms. Then we have a simple data table here which is showing us a most watched list of most watched videos, and we can do searching, and we also have pagination. Then we have pager, have all the functionalities coming from the library, and then we have reports page, which is similar to the data table, which the other one. So that way we can have a data table like in a small section, or you can have it in a full page. And for doing CRUD operations, you can add some buttons over here. And like for creating and for deleting, you can just create a row, extra row, and there you can put a heading like actions, and there you can pass like um, delete button and modify button to each every row. So when you click on it, you will get ID from the element, and then you will map like an event listener, where you will create an event listener which will take the ID and which will call the appropriate API for the action. So that's how you're going to do it, but that's a very complicated thing. So we can't cover in this tutorial because this is a beginner to medium level tutorial. Till now, we have seen how to create basic dashboard app using chart shares and simple data tables. But if you observe charts and the data table, data is static and it's hard-coded data. We are passing some hard-coded information inside JavaScript. But if you want to get all the data from server, or if you want to get some dynamic data, then you can do it. So let's see how to do that in this tutorial. So let's observe total views graph first. So go to dashboard.js, sorry, index.js. This contain JavaScript related to dashboard homepage. Here, if you observe, we have labels and data. So this is hard-coded information, and this is hard-coded inside JavaScript. But if you want to get this data from backend, we can do it. Suppose, for example, I'll create an app called API. For that, I'll use manage.py utility start app API. So we have an app called API. Then create urls.py file. Inside URLs, port path, then create URL patterns variable, an array, and it will contain path, and let's create an index view, not index view. So we want total views information. So dot total and name. Let's give it API total views. So this API should return the data related to total views. So inside views file, let's create a function. Find total request and turn JSON response. Let's import it. So for importing Django.http import JSON response. Import JSON response, then you response here. And let's keep it empty now, but we will add some data here. Now go to URLs file and import views. And now go to core URLs. Here we have core URLs. Right, that it include URLs for API app, API, same way, API dot URLs. Save it and start server now. Dot py run server. So let's run the function over here. So go to API URLs API, and okay, now it's good. Total use. Okay. Well, now let's call the API slash well. So okay, it's total dash. Now you're getting a JSON, and it's empty JSON. Suppose if you pass some other JSON like headings equal to, let's pass the heading information, go to index.js and copy the labels over here and paste it here, labels. I'll enclose it inside quotes, then pasting it. And here I'm passing data, and data must be an array. So let's pass this data and paste it over here. Save it and now refresh the page. You should be able to see the data. Okay, now you can see labels information and data. So let's see how to use this information inside JavaScript so that we can render chart from the data coming from the backend instead of hard coding inside JavaScript. For doing that, do a fetch call here, fetch and API URL slash API slash, actually it should be slash API slash total views. So total views, then response equal to, and then not then data, let's log it, dot log data. Now let's run it and check. Refresh the page and open inspect tab. Here this fresh. Okay, we can't see anything. Let's see the network tab first. Okay, no API call is made. But here I have included this. Oh, okay, we have to refresh this page and we have to inspect this page because the script we are writing is rendered inside this page. Refresh. You can see total views API call is made and you're getting some response over here. And if you open console, you can see this log. Here you can see data and labels. So for using the data, instead of just logging it, I'll just open a code block and I'll just copy it. I'll put it inside this block. Now I'll just remove this information over here and I'll get it from data, which is coming from here, data dot labels. And here, instead of hard coding, giving hard coded values, I'll just call it like data dot data. Save it and refresh it. You're seeing the same chat, but you can see an additional API call is made. Previously, no API call is made, but now the data is coming from API. Suppose if I pass different information, let's go to use API, and if I pass something else like 13,950 here, and so here it's 12,000 fresh, it's 13,000, so it's getting reflected, but this is not dynamic. Still, data is hard coded inside backend. If you want to get dynamic data, like if you want to see the dynamic nature, you can pass in random values. For example, I'll import randint function, random import randint. So randint function is used to get random integer values within a given range. So I want to use randint function over here. So I'll use the list comprehension randint, and range can be 1000 I and 1000 I plus 1, and for I in range. And how many months are present? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm giving 6 here. Save it and now refresh the page. You can see you're getting some different values. And if you refresh it again, see the graph changes. It's dynamic actually. Data is coming up. And if I give it more range, example, I pass like 10, then you will see the graph changes even more dynamic. So now you have seen how dynamic data is getting rendered inside charts. But in real life, we don't use random numbers. Instead, we will get data from database. We will do some mathematical operations. Then we will pass the data to the front end. So let's see how to do that. Um, so for that, first do migrations. Python manage.py make migrations. No changes detected. Python manage.py migrate. Now you will see a database getting created. Open DB browser and open the database. So go to the file, open it, db.sqlite3. You can see these are inbuilt tables which were created using by Django, and you don't have to worry about them. I want to create a new table. For that, I'll just create models file inside APIs. So I there is already a file. So go to that file and pass total use model models model, and I want table and view two records. Models dot character field. The label will be a character field, and use will be an integer field. Save it, then run migration. So before that, we have to go to settings.py file, and here in installed apps, here I'll include API app, and let's run migrations. Python manage.py identified some issue. Character, okay, go to models file. There is an issue for character field. You have to define max length. Max length. I'm putting it like 50. Migrations again. Okay, migration successful. Migrate apps. Migrate. So if you open the database, refresh, now you should see another table inside API. So a new table is created. The table name is API underscore total views model. So you created models under API folder. So it's giving Django is automatically generating this part for you. And if you observe the table, there is ID column, which is primary key, and you have two other columns, label and views. So let's create a new row. For that, you can just click on this button and then you can add information. Like for example, I want to add August month. For August month, use is around 10,000. Then I'll add one more column over here, sorry, row, September. Then add one more. So you added some data. So let's see how to get the data inside backend. That you can one thing like in total views. Let's remove the labels and data over here and it for now. Pass keyword. Okay. Now for getting data from the object, I'll call the model first. Total model from API models total and thing query set text all, and I'll create a dict over here for item in query set. I'll do one thing. This dict, it must contain labels, and it will be an array, and one must contain data and it must be an array. And here I will do dot labels dot append item dot label, and same way append item dot save it, and let's check it. So first let's print the dict value, save, run server, and refresh the page. And go to the top. So query set itself is null. So the problem is we created data over here, but it's not reflected in database. So for writing changes, you have to click on this write changes button. So once you're done with that, if you run if you refresh the page, go to code, and here you will see a query set and total of 6 objects. And we can also see the dict. So let's refresh the page now. So there is some issue because for getting the dict value, like you can use like get dict off, and you can pass the name and it will give you the array, and we are doing append operation on the array. So refresh it. So here you can see the data, like the dict value. And now we have to pass this dict value inside JSON response. So move the print statements, and here I'll uncomment this, and for passing this, I will pass dict, save, and fresh page over here. And you can see we are getting some data. Whatever we passed inside database, we are getting the same data, which is like 10,000, 10,000, 45,000, 47,000, like that. You refresh this page over here, yeah, it's getting reflected. So if more users are coming to your website, then you can change, you can make API calls for increasing the view count in the particular month. So we have seen how to pass dynamic information inside charts. Now let's see how to do that with data tables. So if you observe data tables, the data is hard coded inside JavaScript, and all this data is coming from front end. But I want to change it. I want to do the same thing we did for charts. So let's do that. For doing that, just go to views file and create a new function in API views. For example, here I'm creating data table API request and turn response early, and I have to pass empty going and said create a new path uh, called data table API and take this function. Function should be rendered. This function is already provided here. So once you created it, just go to this page and call the API route. You're getting empty JSON. Suppose if you want to get the data which is present inside the JavaScript, go to JavaScript. So let's go to JavaScript file where we uh, gave some data. So here provided data, copy the data, copying this entire array, and I'm putting it inside a views function. I'm passing it data, or you can pass just an array instead of yeah, good. Yeah, save it and refresh. Now you're getting all the data, the list of top watched video, and now it's time to use that inside JavaScript. For doing that, just make a fetch call similar way. Fetch API slash API slash API and a promise. Solve it. Respond. Again, give a promise. We're resolving it. Here we'll call data table.rows.add function, and inside that we'll pass data.data because we are getting data as like data with a data key. So once we did that, just go back and refresh the page. So you should be able to see the same thing, but here you can. So you should be able to see the data coming from the backend. Let's okay. Suppose if I pass some title Java script for beginners and fresh. Okay, there is some issue over here. Fresh again happening. Not found dashboard API. Let's do inspect. Refresh. Okay, there is no API. Dashboard API. Okay, let's go to view. Okay, it's data table API, and here we should call it like data table API. Save it and refresh it. Okay, now you can see the data. Previously, it was rendered because of the cache present inside browser. So now we did Control Shift R, which will remove cache and hard reloads the page. So when we did that, we were able to the changes, but the data is same like dynamic. But if you want to get it from models, you can create a model over here like as data table or watched use model. I'll extend inherit from model class and I need three fields. One is title, and another one is published date, and another field is views count. Then title will be character field with a max length of 50. Then published date will be datetime field, and you can give a default value if you want, like datetime dot now, and import the datetime from datetime library. Views count will be an integer field can give default value as 0. Okay, and here in views file you can call the model like total view model of, sorry, it's not total views, it's most watched, and dot objects dot all. I'll save it a variable set. I'll do the same processing whatever we did here, and instead of passing this dictionary we'll pass the data coming from the database. That's how we can pass the information the database to the front end. So that's all for the session. We have seen how to pass dynamic information to through API calls, and rendered that data in charts and data tables. Also, we have seen how to get data from the database and how to pass it using API calls. Have taken the data and we have rendered charts and data tables. So till now we have discussed pure basics like how to create dashboard app, but let's see how to work with a real data set. So for getting data set, so I am taking a data set from CS50. Go to CS50, CS50 IMD dataset, search for it, go there, so copy the link over here and paste it. Then you'll get a file, save it. Once you're done with saving, go to downloads, extract it, extract all, extract, and go inside and get the SQLite file, which is this one database file. Copy it and paste it inside your project. I'll open VS Code and I want to paste it inside core file, sorry, inside the root. Copy and paste it. And then here I'll just top server and I'll go to settings file. Inside that I'll change database configuration. Instead of taking it like this SQLite, this one db.sqlite 3, I want to take it from uh, this movies.db. I can once you're done, save it and run migrations. So Python by, oh, you don't have to run migrations. First you have to get the model. So if you open the database, so first of all I'll show you the database. Open database, movies DB, and you can see the movies information. There is like directors table, movies table, people's table, ratings table, and stars table. If I browse through movies table, see the title and year. And if you go to directors, you will see the movie ID and the person ID. So person ID is coming from people table, and you have a person information and movies information in two tables, and you're using that information in other tables like directors, stars, and ratings. So let's see how to use this information inside our project. For that, I just copied the file inside our project. So also I changed settings file to take the database from movies.db instead of that. And for I want to get all the changes, like whatever the tables present, the information, I want to get it. So for that, have a command called inspectdb. So in Django, we get a command called inspectdb, which helps us in doing reverse migrations. Like uh, I can pass all the models coming from this uh, database inside a file. I want to pass it inside app/models.py. So if you open app/models.py, you'll see the directors, movies, models, everything, which were generated by Django using this inspectdb tool. So uh, let's use this app example here. App. So for dealing with these movies information, I'll create a new app inside our project. So it app called .py app. Okay, now we have created an app. I'll just get the URLs file, inside movie URLs file, and got URLs for import path, patterns, path, and a base path where it will return X function. So here it will render X function. I'm giving it name like X. So let's import view file, but there is no index function. Let's go to view and get an index function as request as parameter. Sorry, let's create API calls inside the other app, which is API. But this function, let's use it only for rendering uh, the movies related pages. So request on request. And here in templates, let's create a file. So go to core templates, create a file called move.html. So let's extend base.html inside this file. So for doing that, go to dashboard.html, just copy everything, paste it, and remove things present over here inside the div. And instead of index.js, I want JavaScript from movies.js, and I'll create movies.js file .js, and in movies.js, I'll initialize a data table with the table attribute. So here I'll create a table ID data table, and inside movies.js I'll do it same way like we did for text.js. Here we initialize data table like this. Let's copy the code, put it, and the the heading should be different. In movies, we have ID. Let's open database. We have ID, title, and year. So save it and let's run server and let's refresh page. Go here. Okay, there is some issue. Okay, we haven't included these URLs inside core URLs. .py and URLs. URLs. Save it and refresh. Okay, we're getting this data table and we're also getting bootstrap styling. And we have 3 columns: ID, title, and year. So let's get data from the database. Suppose if I go to use function API and let's create a new API like define movies request and return JSON response. And first I'll get movies data. For that I have to check the model name inside app models. Go and search for, okay, model name is, so I'll just import from app dot models port and I'll use the movies over here dot objects dot all and I want only first. Save it and I'll create a dict and here I'll pass the information like for item in dict. Actually it should array data dot append and it will contain item dot id, item dot name, item year, pass data. And let's run the API 27 slash API slash, oh, we have to link this function in URLs like API URLs. Give a comma, save and refresh. Movies has no attribute name. So let's check. Okay, it's title, not name. It's title and year. Let's refresh. Okay. Uh, there is some error and let's check where that error is. If I go to console, like here in terminal, you can see in line number 51 there is an issue. That is this. And non-dict objects realized, okay, we have to pass it like a dict of array. Yeah. And I'll pass data. Now if you refresh, okay, you're getting movies information like first 50 movies. Suppose if I want to get first 1,000 movies, then I can choose over here 1,000 fresh, getting 1,000 movies, first 1,000 movies by the way. And so now let's see how to include that inside this data table. So go to the JS file, site code.js, and let's do a fetch call, fetch slash API slash then response, then data table rows, add data dot data, save and refresh. Now you're getting full like a first 50, but why ID and AI is null? It's the issue is coming from this library. Like it won't take integer values. It will only take string values. That's why it's coming null. So for solving this issue inside backend, go to views file and make it string. I'm doing typecasting over here. Save, refresh. See the data is coming. And let's do searching. Suppose I want to see movies released in 2020. You can see in 2020, 2019, and I want to see Harry Potter. Okay, it's not coming because it's not loading the entire data set. It's only loading the first 1,000 movies. If you want to load entire data set, you can do it, but it's like too much. There are like 384,000 records, and if you do or if you render all the records, then your backend will be slow, first thing, and also when you send all the data to the front end while inserting, this data table will become too slow. So but still, let's check it. So I'm just removing this, and now I want to render whole data. Also I want to check like how much time it is taking. Refresh now. Okay, okay, it's actually really fast. Now we are getting entire data. Like you can see the paginator, it's full. I want to search for Harry Potter. Okay, but it's too slow. You can say it. I typed Harry, but it's not taking it. It's too slow. So this is the issue which comes when you send large amount of data inside this data tables, because the way this data table works is like you send all data and it will build paginator everything, but this is not the solution for big amount for large amount of data. If you have large amount of data, then you have to use some other library, or you have to build your own library which will which will get the data dynamically. Like if you search for something, you should be able to make an API call dynamically, and you should be getting the data, and you should be inserting them inside the data table. That's how you have to do it if you have large amount of data. So we are getting basic movies information, but if you open database, you can see there is a ratings table and stars table. Okay, stars table is related to acting stars cast, but we don't need that. But we have ratings and votes for each movie. If we want to get that information as well, then do it. So let's see how to do that. So inside, instead of getting like all the movies, I want to get movies with ratings, with things request, and for very set data. So let's import rating first. ratings model. It's all and dot values. So I'll pass the list, like a list of values that I want. For example, here I want ID, sorry, not ID. I want rating quotes, and also want title, title, name, here, save and fresh API. Okay, we have to create a new URL for this API. Just now, go to URLs, ratings, ratings. Let's check that API with, okay, cannot resolve a keyword name into field. Okay, there is no name. It should be, okay, it's title, year. That's it. We have this two inform like only this information. Name and title are same. Remove it. Refresh it. Okay, here we have error. Response object, it returned none object instead. Okay, here we have to return and pass data predict, and let's do the processing whatever we do here, but it will be different for this one. For item reset, that's data array, data append, it will be first one will be movie title, query set item dot item, can get it like item title item dot here item. Oh, yeah, and let's do typecasting here. Item dot, I want item dot id and .js. Just add two more headings like rating, save, and let's call the API now. Okay, dit has no attribute id. Okay, because we in values we are not calling good API. In values we are not getting a movie ID here, ID, and I'll do typecast. You can use map function as well, but just for this tutorial purpose, I'm this. Save inside this data. Let's pass data. Okay, movie has no attribute ID. Dict has no ID. Let's check it. Why we are getting this error? Okay, instead of getting it use dot operator, just let's get it through square brackets and kind of feed here. Save and refresh. Okay, now you're getting the data here. It's ID, name, year, and rating and votes. Now let's pass this data inside data tables, and it's taking so much time for loading all the data. So let's limit the API, like limit the rows, number of rows. For that, I can that here getting. I just want 1,000 rows. Fresh, and let's go to the views file. Okay, it's good. Let's go to JS, index.js, and here instead of getting it from this URL, get it from movies with route. Save and refresh. Now you can see you're getting ID, title, year, rating, and votes. Suppose if you provided a sort functionality or some filter functionality in your front end for your users, and you want to write some backend APIs, you can do that. For example, if I'll take an example, like I want to show only movies which were uh, which were released after 2000, then for that I'll just write a filter backend API. So here, but like filter here greater than 1000. Save it and refresh. Okay, there is some issue. Go to code. Okay, filter a query once a slice has been taken. Okay, you can do it only after filtering. Save and refresh. Cannot resolve year into. Okay, it's movie. It's coming from move year greater than. Okay, now you will see only the movies which were after year 2000. And if you want to include sort functionality, do it like sort order dash order by year. So cannot resolve year into same issue here. Okay, now you can see it's coming in ascending order. And if you want descending order, you can just call like DSC, and it will get all the rows in descending order. So this is how you can apply filters. And if you want sort functionality, yeah, we have just seen like how to do sorting. And we have order by method that for getting sort functionality. You can sort by any column, and also you have seen filter functionality, like how to filter by rows. We get all the method information in Django documentation. Go to Django docs and go to query set section. Let me go to document. I'll go to query set part, query set method reference. Here you'll see all the methods provided by Django. So you can use these methods to do different functionality that you want. Now let's see how to export all this data into a CSV file. So I'll create a button somewhere on the page, and I want to create a function such that when I click on the button, the data present inside this table should be exported into a CSV file. Let's see how to do that. So for that, I'll just go to views file, and I'll create a new function called export, take request, pass, and inside that, I have to create a CSV file, and I have to append rows. So response, I'm creating HTTP response object, and let's import it from Django.http. Okay, here we can, and go down side here, content type equal to text slash CSV, headers equal to paste content disposition attachment, and file name. Okay, there is an issue here. Like we can't use it like this. It should side. Yeah, now this is looking good. Then create a writer object, writer equal to dot write rows, writer, and import CSV for that. Top, and import CSV, head writer, pass this response. So we have to here that writer dot write row. So we have to write rows, each row one by one. So I'll call this query set, and I'll go one by one. Item query set, writer dot write row, and inside that just pass the same array. And once this is done, just return response. Return response. Now let's test our code. Save it. Let's check server. Okay, it's running. Go here. Okay, we have created a function, but we have to link it in URLs. Go to API URLs, API for export, 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 save, and let's call the API 27 8 API export. Okay, you can see API is working. If I open the Excel CSV file, you can see all the data. This is working. So now let's link it to the page. go to .html. Inside that, I'll create a button on top of the data table, above the data table. So I'll create a button. I'll call it export button. I'll give some styling that button success, and I will refer it to the route we created /API /export. Save it and now refresh the page. Okay, you can see export button. If you want to put it on the right hand side, you can put it, doing some styling, clicking on it. Okay, there is some. Let's see. Fresh. Not working. It's not taking route. Maybe because it's a button. If I do it like link, now it's working. Button can't work like a link. So I just changed it to anchor tag. Now the movie's data is getting exported. Open it. You can see this is how many websites do the export functionality. If you want to render JSON data, you can do it in the same way. You need to write, you need to create a JSON writer object. You need to get JSON and then you need to pass it like a JSON content. And you can do it for Excel files and many other formats. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it.